Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love and Marriage DC Season 3, Reunion Part 1.
Listen, if you didn't watch the finale episode, go back and watch that video, then come back. Or watch this video and go back. Whichever one. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am going to tell you to subscribe, like, share, comment. We got a lot to get into this. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
We start with everyone. They're in their dressing rooms. They're getting ready, getting geared up. Carlos comes around. He speaks to everyone and see what type of temperature everybody's on. Ashley and Winter have been hanging out a lot.
Be careful, Winter.
Erana wasn't invited, and she's glad. She slept well next to her husband when Ashley and Winter went out the previous night. Erana said Ashley's D is old and sour, talking about the D in friendship, and she ain't worried about it.
Listen here, just to give a little backstory, which I know we've been watching in real time. I don't know particularly when this reunion was filmed, but there's been a lot of things.
It was August 2023, I believe.
Okay, there was a lot of things that they wanted to clear up on the reunion. You get what I'm saying? And Jamie and Ashley and Winter, they all been tweeting in real time. So I don't know if they're gonna get to a resolve, but all I'm watching is basically, can we get to a resolve based on what we see this season? You know?
We discussed Jamie's enjoyment of drinking, and we see clips of some people who feel like, Jamie gets a little extra when he drinks. Okay. Ashley has never called him an alcoholic, even to the point where Ashley says that she's defended him when people have tried to allude to that. Okay. Erana says Ashley drinks more than anybody in this room. And Ashley agrees. And she also is like, I don't know why you're saying that, because I'm over here talking about I'm defending your husband. But okay. Erana spoke to Ashley while they were out. Apparently they were out at some event. And Ashley thinks it's fake that Erana is coming here with all this energy when she wasn't like that before. And Erana's like, I'm a grown woman. I can be cordial. I can speak. I know you. Erana says that if you come for my husband, I'm going to come for you. Ashley ends up calling Erana a B. They get into a little back and forth.
Yeah, this scene was very weird. This just let me know rather, that they wanted to argue, or Ashley wanted to argue, because Ashley said, I never called Jamie an alcoholic. So I don't understand why Erana felt the need to argue with Ashley about that. Because even then, she's...
So you said you think Erana wanted to come and argue?
I said Ashley wanted to argue. Oh. So I don't know why Erana wanted to basically feed into the argument. Okay. Because Ashley still did not call her husband alcoholic. So what do Erana got to be mad about? What do Jamie and Erana got to be mad about? Yeah. Because basically she's like, I never said, because Jamie basically was saying, you've been tweeting, and I think this reunion was actually sooner than last year, because they was talking about, there's some things that got to be cleared up. I think the reunion was filmed sooner than August of 2023. Okay. But because they basically was like, on Twitter, you said that my husband is alcoholic. Actually, like, I never said that. So, like, they are clearing out some things that kind of was recently in the tweets that I don't really understand why Arena's arguing with Ashley, where even at the end of Ashley calling her a B, she still ain't call your husband alcoholic. Yeah. So what are you arguing with Ashley about right here, Arena? This is where I'm confused. But Ashley came there ready to argue. So, like, that's why I'm like, even in her disagreement, or even in them agreeing, Ashley's yelling. And basically just like, I'm ready to rumble with everybody and who basically been running their mouth. And I kind of get it in a way, because I'm like, if you've been tweeting and saying things that I said this about you, like, how come you're not standing on it now that we on the same stage and things of that nature? So, yeah.
Well, Quick speaks up and says that the cast and Ashley have never called him an alcoholic. Jamie says that in the confessionals, y'all be saying I drink too much. And Quick says, you know how confessionals go? Like, people will ask you questions 100 times until they get to the answer that they want to use. Yeah. But nobody called you alcoholic. I mean, there was a point where Ashley was still trying to get her issue off, and Quick seemed annoyed and asked her if she could be quiet for like 30 seconds.
He's very annoyed. And Carlos was trying to get Erana quiet too. And even then, Carlos was like, Jamie, and he was like, hey, I tried. and the whole point is, just kind of go back to what we said last episode about Ashley. She just see fight. She don't see peace. She don't see a way to come to a resolve and things like that. Because even when Quick was like, can I talk? You get what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, that sounds like someone who don't want to be around you because you're yelling a lot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And basically, Quick is basically saying, hey, this can be solved in 3 sentences. Jamie, we never said you was an alcoholic. you know how confessionals are. You give an answer. They ask the question in multiple ways. And we still never said you are an alcoholic. I don't understand why Ashley is doing all this other stuff, bro. But we never called you an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So I can see Quick's frustration with how Ashley's choosing to respond, even in agreement with Erana. Yeah. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, or even Erana, I don't even understand why you are taking... I don't want to say taking the bait, because Erana, I think you are the one that's basically like, I don't understand why you're arguing too. And basically, Ashley's trying to show us, because Ashley's whole point in this reunion, based on her tweets, is saying, I'm going to show y'all how fake y'all are. And that's where she was like, hey, remember when we was out and things like that? You had all these things to say, but when we was together in person, you wanted to speak to me. And Erana was like, well, I'm a grown-up. I know how to talk to people and things like that. I'm not going to ignore somebody. I'm a grown woman. I can talk. And Ashley's like, that's fake. So that's Ashley's whole point of basically this reunion, to show us how fake everybody on the cast is. But continue.
Okay. Well, we get into Lil Jamie. He's doing a lot better, and he's in a better space with his dad. We see the clip of Lil Jamie and Ashley meeting up, discussing mental health. Ashley says that it was important for her to talk to Lil Jamie because she saw herself in him. Okay. The Tylers were happy that she reached out to him, and he, in a way, looks up to Ashley, and he really appreciated the time that she spent to talk to him. We discussed the bad kid comment and the conversation and exchange that the Tylers and the Silvas ended up having with Lil Jamie. Yeah. Quick says that he loves him. He thinks he's a great person. He thinks that social media takes things out of context. He's glad that he and Lil Jamie are in a better space. Jamie said all Quick had to say was that he used the wrong words and it would have been over. My thing with that is Quick didn't use the wrong words. Quick used the words that he wanted to use, to the point that he was defending the words he was using and saying, if you get in trouble with your parents and the law, then what does that mean? So if Jamie and Erana want to believe that Quick used the wrong words, fine. I think Quick meant what he said. So
my thing with that is also, I don't want to absolve Lil Jamie either, and things of that nature. You saw something, you saw a clip or whatever you saw on basically a clip of the show, and you went on social media and started talking to Quick as if you wanted to put hands on him and things like that. If you look up to basically his wife, Ashley, and things of that nature, you can't be talking to Quick crazy like that either, especially if it's true that Quick look out for you. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that what Quick said was right, and Quick should have been more direct. He should have called you at least a bad kid to your face and things like that, and not make it seem like a private conversation to where, like, I don't want my kids to be like Lil Jamie. Like you ain't gotta use me for example. But once you take it on social media, Lil Jamie, two wrongs don't make a right. And you basically talking to me like you gonna put hands on me. Now I got a problem with you or how you responded to me now.
Yeah.
Because now you can't take back what you said. The same as I can apologize for what I said, but you can't take back what you said either, though.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
So we move on to the Tylers, and during their marriage, Erana had some conversations with a man through Facebook. Okay. And Jamie said that he's forgiven her and moved on, but some things, situations can trigger that and put them back in that space. Jamie has had conversations with women, and he's texted women. He wasn't sleeping with anyone, which Carlos asked. And Erana says, you know, the text messages, she saw them, but she never really asked about it. And that's something that she used to do. She used to shut down, not say anything, and not ask the questions because they didn't really want to know the truth. And Erana says, look, we've been together for over 20 years. No relationship is perfect, but here we are. Carlo asks, is it a deal breaker if one of you cheated? And Erana says it depends on how long ago it was. If it was over 20 years ago, she wouldn't even consider that.
That's interesting. But let's continue.
We see clips of Ashley discussing the challenges in her marriage. Carlos asks, where does the desire to keep working come from? Asking Quick, because you have the money, you have the family. What else do you need? Quick tells us that he's using his success as a leverage to help others. He enjoys working. He wants everyone around him to be millionaires, billionaires, and that's what he's working towards at this time. Quick commends Ashley for being so supportive, but Ashley feels like a single married mom.
I do not like that.
She doesn't plan on always living her life like this. She could leave now and be financially stable, not have to work a day in her life. And she has thought about leaving if things don't change, to the point where she says that she would leave. It is an option for her.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts about that. I don't know. I think Quick needs to cut back the work a little bit. But at the same time, I think that it depends on their lifestyle. If things cost the way that they cost, he has to work. But like I said in the previous episode, if you're finding opportunities to be away from home, that's a whole nother conversation. Why don't you want to be home? And that's something I think they would need to work out in couples therapy. I also think that Ashley, we can, when we get further into it, she talks about 50% she's happy, 50% she's unhappy. But I don't know how much of that is really the fault of her husband, other than how just she feels. So, yeah.
My thing with the problem that I have with what she said was that she said she feels like a single, she feels like a single mom, a single married mom, or like whatever you want to put. Basically alluded to, I basically feel single in this relationship, right? You're not single, Ashley. From a guy perspective, I understand we can be tunnel vision and only look at the provision part of a relationship, but it is an important part. And as long as you have that provision of a part of the marriage that you value so much that you basically say, hey, look, I can leave and be financially stable. I never worked. I never have to work. And basically, I'll be good. Not so much speaking of the relationship itself, but speaking of the financial benefit of leaving and things like that. And basically saying, look, it is what it is. But there is something too, like, I understand Quick may not be present, but at the same time, you're not a single parent. And a lot of the liberties that you are afforded to put your children through, is through the work of your husband. I do understand this with Quick, though. It is an excuse to where you say, I want to use my name to make my friends millionaires. Your name can't make your friends millionaires. You can use your name as leverage to put them in a better situation. But if you're going to use that millionaire thing, trust me, the minute that they become millionaires, you just go change and move the goalpost to say, okay, I want them to be tens of millions. And then I want them to be hundreds of millions, right? Just say, I want to use my name to put them in a better situation. And as long as you put that far goal out there, you can always point to that and be like, hey, my friend's not millionaires yet. You get what I'm saying? So I would pull back on that goal itself, because at the end of the day, hey, you got to man your own family, basically your own space. But I do commend DJ Quick of basically like, hey, I got the money. Yes, I do. But I do want to use my name and leverage to uplift others, my friends. But I would say, does that require all your time? You get what I'm saying? But but we definitely get more into it. Continue.
Ashley feels Quick has chosen his career over her. Quick's response is always that he's trying.
Yeah.
Ashley is 50% unhappy. Quick has said happy wife, happy life in the past. Clearly, we're not here. Carlos says marrying the love of your life, having 2 kids. He gets a sense that Ashley might be in a Groundhog Day to where she is basically just a wife and a mother, and she constantly is trying to find herself and find what brings her joy.
That's true.
Ashley knows that she has to put herself first, which is something that she has been doing, and not feeling guilty about it. She knows Quick working isn't going to change. Ashley says that he's been through a lot, and she knows that he's using the money as a fix, to the point where she says it's not going to bring his parents back.
That's kind of, I was like, that
was kind of cold.
That's kind of deep. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But go ahead, continue.
Quick enjoys what he does. He doesn't know how to have a work-life balance to where they're both happy. Ashley is in therapy. Quick says he's open to it, and he says if she schedules it, he'll come. And Ashley is saying, look, I'm not his mom. If he wants to go to therapy, that he needs to initiate it.
But you want solution though, right, Ashley? Like, I understand. I always believe in giving people rope for them to basically hang themselves. So I'm like, set up the therapy, right? And if he doesn't show up, then don't set it up no more. But you want solutions. You want things to be fixed. And if you're going to use as someone with, that's kind of wild to say, dead parents, you get what I'm saying? Quick is not asking you to be his mama, okay? So let's get this. And he's not working to bring his parents back home or like to bring his mama back and things of that nature. So I don't like it's not a jab. I'm not criticizing Ashley, y'all. I'm not saying she's like purposely jabbing, saying I'm not his mama. You know, it's not gonna bring his parents back and things like that. But there is something to loving what you do, and if you never worked, which Ashley said, right, you won't understand it, right? I have a job that, for one, I go to parties, right? Parties make you feel good off top. I don't know if this makes him feel good because he's basically the head of the party, but he loved what he do. And you basically been home, and she even said it in the scene that basically I met him like this. Like, basically, like, he always been this way. And there is something to, hey, people change, and what got us here can't keep us here. What got us here, hey, it was very enjoyable. Hey, sometimes maybe when we didn't have kids, I came to those parties with you. But now I have kids, I have these responsibilities and things like that, and I'm losing myself because it seems like you are out having fun at these parties working, and now when you get to come home, you get to be the fun dad. And now I always get to be the bad cop. What is your thoughts on like this scene before like I dive into it a little bit more?
My only thing is, I mean, it's pretty much what I've been saying. I think Quick, possibly he could have a void that he's trying to fill with the fact of, you know, how he grew up, maybe issues around money, losing his parents, stability. I mean, that can all be very well true. Yeah. But I do think that Ashley's approach to it isn't going to get her the result that she wants.
A little cold.
So I think that, like you said, Ashley, I think Quick is not going to schedule this therapy appointment. So being his wife, his partner, knowing your partner and knowing he's not going to do it, be the helpmate in the sense of I'll schedule it, but you got to be the one to get yourself to it.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna drive it now.
Right. And if he gets there and he makes it and he does what he's supposed to do, then okay, then I will schedule the next one. Yeah. And I'll take on that role to make sure that we get to where we need to go as long as you show up. So I think that's just a lesson in partnership as well.
I like that, Blair.
So where your partner is weak, then you come in and fill the gap. But I do understand where Ashley probably is feeling like I fill the gap in a lot.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like, this therapy thing can be kind of a last ditch effort of, this is kind of my last time filling the gap in for you, and I need to see some effort on your part. And I think this could be the thing to where Quick can show his effort. Everywhere else, he keeps saying he's trying. He booked one vacation, and there's really no measuring stick to actually see him progressing. So I think this could be him coming to therapy, could see the effort that he's willing to put in to meeting Ashley halfway.
Man, I'm so toxic because the minute that she would have said, I'm not your mother, I would have been like, well, I ain't your daddy and I pay for everything.
Okay.
like my whole thing is like, I pay for everything.
Yeah.
So don't make it seem like you're doing a lot. I'm doing, okay, let me stop paying for things today. I closed all the accounts today. And that's why I'm like, I can't be in these situations.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I'm like, maybe Ashley, I'm happy that she wrote her book, busy yourself. But to that 50%, hey, I can't be 50% because the math is not math. I can't be 50% of your unhappiness and 50% of your happiness. You need to figure out why you unhappy half the time and why you're happy half the time. I think you like being unhappy if it's me.
And also, I think with, depression and things like that, it does color your outlook on life and situations a certain way. So I think that, I'm hearing that she's going to therapy. I don't know if she's on medication or, whatever she might be doing to help her depression. But I know she said that she's not getting a lot of sleep. Not having sleep messes with your mind and the way that you interact and view situations as well. And not to say that Ashley is completely off in how she views things, but if she was a little more stable, she might be able to approach things a different way.
You actually just gave me a whole new outlook on it too, because that's actually pretty smart. Because let's tie the season to the scene right here, right? She haven't been getting sleep. She said she battled with depression. You get what I'm saying? She wanted to leave this earth early. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And let's use that to Quick being a solutionist. This is what he called himself. Those type of problems Quick can't solve. Right. So now I kind of hold it against you that you can't solve it. I don't know I'm doing that. I just always known you as my husband to fix things, right? Mm-hmm. But when you are not getting sleep on top of the depression that you have, things, and we're not putting these things on her. These are things that Ashley that she shared with us bravely, I would say. Yeah. I'm not holding it against her at all, right? If I look to you as my provision and my provider and my protector and things like that, when you are depressed based off of what people have told me, right? Sometimes people on the outside externally can't help you. Right. Sometimes it does take medication. Mm-hmm. That's why why she's probably going to therapy. Who knows why? I don't know why. I'm not trying to get in her business. Right. But what I'm saying is when I'm sinking or feel like I'm sinking, I do kind of, in a way, subliminally, I could potentially blame the one that I'm closest with, even though he's not really the cause of it.
And it could be the blame of wanting to be able to pinpoint something.
Yeah.
If you do this, I would feel better. Yeah. If this person was to act this way or be more present, whatever the case may be, I would feel better. And the thing is, you might feel better,
and you might not.
And then 5-10 minutes later, you might go back to feeling how you've been feeling. So it's really, I think that Quick could do better with being at home, but I don't know if that's going to be the big fix that Ashley needs.
And that's right. I do agree with that point. At least let's do process of elimination.
Right.
Is it you? You know what I mean? Quick. Is it you? Let me at least get that off the board to see if it's you or not. And guess what? And if it's not you, sorry. You know what I mean? And then we can keep going. Let's keep going. We still got a lot to get into.
Yeah. Well, Carlos tries to bring a solution to them.
Yeah.
And says to Quick, just like your team schedules your gigs, your engagements, have them block out a time for you to spend with your family uninterrupted. And that could be a good first step.
Maybe.
And I think that is a good, like we were talking about metrics, that might be a good metric for Ashley to see, okay, you've scheduled 3 hours with the family for this week, and that's a start.
I don't think Quick got that in him, bro.
Yeah. But Ashley needs to see some type of physical change, something. So yeah. We see the Joy and Ashley marriage debacle, and talking about how she revealed that Joy was married, and then the whole Christmas party argument.
Yeah.
Carlos asks why Joy and Clifton kept the wedding a secret. And Clifton shares that they had their whole relationship displayed on television, and they wanted something just intimate just for them. Joy said that Ashley told her that she told Alicia, but she lied when Ashley said she told it, and Joy was just like, oh, no, we're not married, because it was more so of like a what the F moment, basically. And then that, to me, that's concerning. So when you feel that way, you just be lying.
I guess
rather than saying what the hell, girl, you just be like, okay, I'm gonna just tell a lie.
No, I guess
because you caught me.
I guess she felt like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not my place to feel this way about them hiding their marriage. A good enough reason for me is not our relationship been televised this whole time, and we wanted to keep something for ourselves while we at the same time signed up for a second show. Like that.
And then also your storyline is you planning a wedding. So it's just weird. It's just like, I don't believe y'all.
Yeah. So
I think y'all wanted a wedding special.
But at the end of the day, it's not my secret to tell.
Yeah.
Clifton even said it himself. I feel like Clifton low key kind of blamed Joy for all of this. And when I say blame,
you shouldn't have told nobody.
I don't think he mean blame as if he's like holding it over her head. But he said, Joy got a little excited. And she just started telling folks and things like that. And it's just something about, I don't know what it is about Ashley's aura, but I met people like this before. You want to impress her. She has this aura to where it's like, I like her. Ashley haven't done anything to earn it. More likely she's going to do things to disqualify her from getting the friendship. But you felt that Ashley was trusting enough. Ashley didn't even have to prove anything. The same way as Carmen came last episode, started sharing things, she called it the HBIC. You just feel like, I like Ashley. Ashley, I'm married. You know what I'm saying? Ashley haven't done anything to earn that secret. And guess what? Ashley took your little secret and it didn't mean nothing to her. And she went to her real best friend and was like, guess what? Them people married, right? You know what I mean? So, it was kind of strange to keep it a secret, but it's not my secret to judge.
Joy says at the time, Ashley apologized. She didn't feel it was remorseful. And Ashley said that it wasn't, but she did call her and text her after she saw how Joy's face dropped to really express how sorry that she was. And Joy's like, well, if you weren't remorseful in the moment, then how do you expect me to accept an apology? So
yeah, I will say this. They showed a flashback where Ashley did approach her and apologized, and Joy said, I'm not in a position to accept it right now. I'm still like digesting it. I thought that apology was sincere from Ashley.
Yeah, I did.
Right? Did you say you did too?
Yeah, but right. I didn't expect Joy to accept it right off the bat.
Right, me neither. I really think Ashley should have just left it alone. Should have left Joy alone. You get what I'm saying? Put yourself in timeout. I'm not saying be the type to apologize 30,000 times, but if you are the one in the wrong, I do find it kind of strange that how you find other people in the wrong. You get what I'm saying?
Well, my thing is like Ashley, she apologized. Yeah. And I do think she needs to learn to apologize and let it go. Don't apologize and then hold the person's feet to the fire and saying, when are you going to forgive me? You know? But at the same time, if Joy hadn't fully digested the apology, why are you showing up to my house? That's a real thing.
Come on now. Well, especially not saying anything too, because she was like, hey, you didn't respond to no text. I didn't know you was coming. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But go ahead.
So Clifton told Joy that Ashley would use that against her. And Clifton said that when people start sharing things, it just doesn't stay there. Based off of Ashley's actions, he thought Ashley would be the one to talk. And Ashley says, if I wanted to use it against you, I would have went to production. But I didn't do that. And I'm saying to Ashley, it's the same thing. You told Alicia on the TV show. It's not like you called her and had an off-camera conversation to say, girl, these people married.
In my head, I'm like, you did tell production.
I'm like, you told production. Ashley brings up how Clifton talked about Sherelle being a trainer and he was confused because of the way her body looks. I don't even know why Ashley brought that up, really.
Because Ashley is in fight mode. She's in fight mode. She ain't there for no resolve. She there to basically expose the truth. Her whole point, as I said at the beginning of this episode, was that these people I've been filming with this season are fake, and I'm going to expose them for the actors they are. I'm the real one on the show. But continue.
Then we get to Clifton pretty much checking Quick and saying, you were talking about handling something. Did you handle me? Quick said if he really had beef with him, then Clifton wouldn't be here. And Clifton said, then do it. Do what you got to do. And he said that he would ball Quick up so fast. He called him Scrappy Doo. And Quick did kind of look like Scrappy Doo. And it was getting just really hot and heated to the point where Clifton walked off set and then Quick seemed like he wanted to run after him once, they got into their dressing room.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted because Ashley will lie to you on Twitter and tell y'all that Clifton was running his mouth behind security. They walked Clifton off the set, meaning production came and walked him off the set to de-escalate it. Yeah. Clifton wasn't like talking behind somebody back. He said it. He said, sitting right across from him, you said you was going to handle it. You get what I'm saying?
And even walking past him, he was saying it.
And my whole thing is, look, you didn't chase after him until you realized he was out the room. You didn't realize that. You chased him once you realized he was out the room, Alberto. You get what I'm saying? So here's my thing about this scene. We seen the clip, right? You over here trying to make Clifton look like a liar. We saw you basically saying you got a problem with my wife. I'm gonna handle it. And basically you like, hey, y'all over here trying to basically call me a liar, basically say I'm talking about Sherelle all bad and things like that. Hey, I'm gonna call you a liar because you said you was gonna handle me. I'm perfectly fine. And then of course we got this 40-plus-year-old man talking about, man, you know who I am. If I really wanted to make it uncomfortable for you on the street, I could really make it uncomfortable for you. And Chris was like, well, do it. He was like, bet, I do it then. And my thing is, DJ Quick, what are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing?
You gonna crash out over your wife telling stories? And like it's wild to me.
And truth be told, it's a fake crash out. It's not a real one. And things of that nature. You at your big age and things like that. Even though people over here talking about your size and things like that, you are a big age, right? You're at your big age trying to talk street code to a man that didn't do nothing to you or your wife.
No.
like I don't even understand what you're mad at. And at the end of the day, y'all mad at each other for what? and Ashley's yelling and things like that. And it just basically ended in confusion. And I don't know, are we going to get to a resolve with anything between them two and things like that? What was your thoughts on that scene?
Yeah, I mean, my only thoughts were that I agree with Clifton. You over here doing all this talking about you going to handle me, you going to talk to me and all this type of stuff. But whenever I'm around, you ain't got nothing to say.
You ain't have nothing to say.
Never. So, yeah, I agree for Clifton calling him out. Like, what? So what you trying to do?
And you're right. You're right. And on top of that, I see some people trying to make it seem like, well, Clifton was in the same room with Quick back at the cabin, and he ain't doing anything. Clifton wasn't the one that said, when I see him, I'm going to do something to him.
And Clifton doesn't have a problem with Quick. He tried to dap him up at the thing.
Exactly.
He don't have an issue with him.
Clifton ain't no coward. DJ Quick was the one who showed characteristics of a coward, because he's the one that talked all big saying, oh yeah, I'm going to handle him.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, okay, I think Quick does a lot of talking for his wife to make her feel comfortable or whatever the case may be. But that's when we get back to Ashley need to figure out what makes her happy, because Quick doing all this hooting and hollering to make her feel protected. And while they in the back and Ashley making jokes like, oh, Clifton think he's so big and so bad. Like, yeah, he's bigger than your husband. Yeah.
I'm starting to think.
So are you like embarrassed by your husband being so small and he really can't go toe to toe with the men? Like, I really don't get this dynamic.
You know what's crazy?
That Ashley and Quick have when it comes to protecting each other against the big bad Clifton. So it's off. It's odd to me.
You know what's crazy? Have you ever heard something so crazy that it's actually like, when like you first hear it, you're like, this can't be true, because it's so outlandish that like it just doesn't make no sense, right? When this first happened, everybody said, oh, Ashley got a crush on Clifton.
Oh.
Right? And I was like, that makes no sense. But the more scenes we seen that it doesn't make sense, I have to include every opinion now.
Oh, okay. Because every theory.
Because like I my brain can't wrap around why. I'm thinking reunion is usually the place where you actually get to rewatch the show and you actually get to see what happened. I'm thinking DJ Quick is gonna come on some like, hey, I watched the show, my fault. You get what I'm saying? You're from Baltimore. You like supposed to represent this city. You get what I'm saying? So my whole thing is like, I'm thinking he go watch it and be like, hey, my fault, bro. You know, but he came there more wired up, as if like Clifton did something to him right there. So I'm like, I don't know why Ashley is picking on this grown man and things like that. And I have to include every theory in the comments below. What are your theories of why Ashley is picking on Clifton like this? To the point where she was willing to forgive Joy, the one who she initially had the problem with, the one who she was trying to fight at her own party in her house, kicking her out. But when it came to Clifton, she want to call him sassy and things of that nature and still hold a grudge against him. I heard theories as far as she has a crush on him and things like that because, you know, he's big, he looks strong, he got a deep voice and things like that. And I'm like, y'all just sound like y'all just making opinions out of the behind, but I'm accepting anything and everything. In the comments below, write down your theories. Anything else that you've seen on part one that you want to share, Blair?
Yeah, only thing I want to say is I do think that Ashley might not like Clifton because he speaks back to her. And
I like that theory.
Yeah, and I think that because Quick doesn't, or maybe he's learned to not, or you know, maybe men don't really get into it with Ashley because Ashley be going off the deep end and nobody has time to deal with her attitude. So maybe she does feel like, oh, he's sassy, he's all these different things because he's really willing to engage in arguments with me. But it's like, Ashley, not everybody's going to be the same. You can't talk to people crazy and expect people not to respond, male or female.
And nobody's scared of you.
So I think that I really don't know, or I don't believe that she has a crush on Clifton necessarily, but I think that she doesn't like that he is not kissing her behind like a lot of people do. So
you cheated. You were supposed to go in the comments and write that theory.
Oh, okay.
And things like that.
Okay.
So after this video, go in the comments and write down what you just said.
Okay.
And things like that on a separate account.
Okay.
Okay. I like that theory. To be honest, about how that's why she probably picture her as sassy because. You know, you don't argue with no women. A woman's supposed to put their finger in your face and yell at you and things like that. And the minute you defend yourself, oh my goodness, Clifton is sassy. You know what I'm saying? So I like that theory. Anything else you'd like to share?
That's it.
Listen here, subscribe, like, share, comment. We gonna be back for part 2 of the reunion. So far, it just seemed like a mess. It seemed like some people say throw the show away. I'm not there yet. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I am saying the reunion is supposed to be some resolve, not a whole bunch of yelling and not a whole bunch of lying. You get what I'm saying? But I'll see y'all next week. Y'all be good.
Bye.